Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? Welcome back to World of Tanks and World of Tanks SandBox 2.0. Today, once again, I have something extremely exciting for you from the SandBox server. In today's episode, I am able to show you Tier 10 light tanks. And in this episode, I am going to focus on T-100 LT, which is Tier 10 light tank from Soviet Russia. But guys, you have to keep in mind this is SandBox server. This is where we're testing out ideas for the future. As Wargaming said, the main goal of these light tanks is to eliminate the frustrating +3 matchmaking that the class currently has. Stretching light tank branches to Tier 10 makes the regular +2 matchmaking possible for them, which should turn them into a standalone battle unit. However, with all the internal tests and models and super tests, we cannot be absolutely certain that everything works as intended. It is for you to tell us if we are on the right track. Join the test to help us check if they really work. And this is why I am here, this is why we are here, this is why we are playing SandBox server, SandBox test server, to test out things to see if they really work. So that out of the way, let's get into the action and let's start talking about Tier 10 light tank T-100 LT. And I believe let's talk about first specs while you are enjoying some gameplay action on the background. And now I have to say that this tank was ridiculously fun tank to play with and ridiculously annoying tank to play against. Because as you can see how low profiled tank this is. When it is at full speed at 72 km/h top speed, it is ridiculously hard to hit it. It is so fast, so low profiled, and when you are going to hit it, there is a chance that you are going to bounce your shot even with Tier 10 guns, because the armor is actually working. But let's start with the mobility. So this tank is 15.4 tons heavy tank. It is super light, isn't it? Engine power 850. 850 horsepower engine on 15.4 ton tank. Specific power ratio 55.19. Have you seen numbers like that? 55.19 guys. Top speed 72, reverse speed 25, tank traverse speed 63.71. So the mobility of this tank is simply amazing, spectacular, really. I am going to show you one clip how this tank climbs the hill on Himmelsdorf. Check this out guys. Like nothing. Like there is no hill at all. Crazy tank. Next up, let's talk about survivability. Hit points 1500 HP. Yeah, 1500 HP is Tier 8 heavy tank kind of HP. Now, among other Tier 10 light tanks, this is not the highest amount of hit points. It is kinda in the middle because Sheridan, for example, gets 1600 HP, but AMX 13 105, it gets 1400 HP hit points. But there is one other thing where this tank shines, and this is frontal armor. Frontal hull and frontal turret armor. Overall hull armor is 120, 40, 40, turret armor 180, 40 and 40. So side and rear, nothing special, but frontal armor guys is actually bouncing Tier 10 guns. I have bounced so many Badget 25 clips with my frontal armor when Badgets are auto-aiming at me. But you have to think about it. When you are moving around your super fast tank, Badget has to auto-aim you. And you are bouncing. Badget's auto-aims with Tier 10 light tank. Pretty crazy. Because you can see that the amount of slope is actually ridiculous in the front. A lower plate is really small. And turret is even smaller than the lower plate. Yeah, first time I'm seeing something like that. So super low profile tank, and just you can see that more than 50% of the side profile is tracks. So heat, I believe this tank is going to eat heat ammunition for breakfast if you're going to shoot it from the side into the tracks. So overall survivability of this tank, once again I have to say, is bloody amazing, especially for Tier 10 light tank. But moving on, concealment of this tank is good. Without any boosters, without camo net, without crew skills, actually one of my crew members out of 3, this tank has 3 crew members, but on one of my crew members, on my driver, I have camo skill active at 10%. So with ventilation, with food, my camo ratings are at 24.9. But now let's talk about spotting. My view range is at 471 meters. With brothers in arms, with recon skill on commander, with ventilation and food, extra combat rations. It is advised, however, to use coated optics or binoculars if you are not playing with food or with brothers in arms, or without recon skill. Otherwise, your view range is not going to be the best, you are going to be outspotted by other light tanks. But as I am using brothers in arms with recon skill on my commander and ventilation and food, my view range is pretty decent without using coated optics or binoculars, so I can equip ventilation, tank and rammer and vertical stabs for extra firepower, for extra accuracy while I am moving. And you are going to take a lot of shots while you are moving with this tank. So if you're going to do that, your view range is going to be really good, but it is not the best view range because it is Soviet tank, however, and as we all know, Soviet tanks are not known for epic view range. And if I remember correctly, Tier 10 German light tank Rheinmetall Panzerwagen had 440 base view range. 440 meters. So yeah, pretty crazy. On Rheinmetall Panzerwagen you can definitely cruise around with ventilation, tank and rammer and vertical stabs without worrying too much, without using food, and your view range is going to be Gucci. Now finally, let's talk about firepower. And over here we cannot see anything super OP or super crazy. It is a pretty standard 100mm gun, 230mm of penetration. Your standard rounds are going to be APCR rounds, and your premium rounds are going to be AP rounds. So you have to keep that in mind, and premium rounds are not going to give you that much extra penetration. Standard penetration 230, premium AP penetration 248. So nothing too crazy. And average damage 320. Now stock or base stats for this gun are as followed: average TPM 2510, accuracy 0.44, aiming time 2 seconds, and rate of fire 7.84 seconds. But with my equipment, with my loadout, crew members, consumables and so on, my gun stats are like this: reload time 6.2 seconds, rate of fire from 7.84 rounds per minute to 9.7 rounds per minute. Gun depression -5 degrees, gun elevation 15 degrees. 15 degrees of gun elevation is, well, pretty decent, but -5 degrees of gun depression is kinda limiting, so you have to look out for that. -5 degrees is not even good, it is decent at the best. Aiming time from 2 seconds to 1.76 seconds, and accuracy from 0.44 to 0.39. Average TPM with all my equipment, with all my stuff, 3100 damage per minute. So it is quite competitive, nothing too crazy in the firepower line, but where this tank shines is definitely mobility, as you have seen from the gameplay clips as well. And now let's take a look at one battle and let's wrap it up. And welcome to Runeberg, everybody. Just take a look at this acceleration. Mind-blowing. And already at top speed, at 71 kph, 72-71 kph. Now, usually when you are playing with light tanks, you do not like to see maps like this. Maps like Runeberg and Himmelsdorf, you do not like to see city maps, where you are not able to spot. You would like to see Malinovka, Prokhorovka or stuff like that. For light tanks, those maps are extremely good, because you can spot stuff while staying in the shadows. Awesome. But for tier 10 light tanks, and for this tank especially, city maps are amazing. Maybe it is just me, but I actually enjoyed playing on city maps more than on Malinovka or Prokhorovka or on light tank maps. I don't know what is wrong with me. I believe because this tank is fast. This tank is really fast, and on city map, troll value is over there. You're able to go into the action, you're able to get out of the action quite easily without any problems, especially on this map. If I decide to cross this little ridge on my left at the moment, and if I see any enemy tanks that are one-shots for me, I should be able to get in, I should be able to get out without receiving any fatal damages. Simply because the surprise element is there with this tank. So I believe if this tank comes out, I am going to use it more like a light medium tank than a light tank that has to spot. And I believe for tier 10 light tanks, this is going to be kind of obvious thing to do. And goodbye T-100, good kill. Let's move on. And now, as you can see, I am carrying large repair kit and large first aid kit with food. I just wanted to test out how beast this tank can be. If I'm going to boost it as hard as I can, because I played my first 15 battles without using those premium consumables. And on SandBox server, to use those things, you have to play the game. Every single battle gives you 40 gold, and the premium consumables, premium ammunition are only available with gold. So every consumable is going to cost you 50 gold. And for that you have to play the game. But if you haven't seen my artillery rework episode from SandBox 2.0, then maybe you do not know that Wargaming is testing out, nice driving by the way, god damn it, but Wargaming is testing out reusable consumables. What that means is you're able to use your consumables more than once with a cooldown, like I did over here. One of my crew members was destroyed. I used my large first aid kit, and as you can see, cooldown started ticking down. Now I wanted to see what is the difference between premium consumables and standard consumables. As you remember, small first aid kit and small repair kit, they both have 90-second cooldown. For example, your ammo gets destroyed, you repair it with your small repair kit, and after 90 seconds you are able to do that again. But with premium consumables, your cooldown is 60 seconds and you're able to repair every single broken module or crew member. Or you're able to lift the stun effect that artillery is able to do. And if you do not know what stun effect is, then you pretty much have to watch my artillery rework episode. But a long video short, it is going to stun your crew members, it is going to make your crew less efficient. Yeah. So, this was a nice battle, 3523 damage done with some damage to my assistants. And I am pretty sure that they are going to do something, and as you can see, gold received 40, but for light tank on city map this was not the worst battle actually. Second by damage done, top by kills, top by experience, so nothing too crazy. Our object 263 did a lot of work, seems like it. And yes, what a battle for 3 minutes and 41 seconds in action. Really quick games on SandBox server. But I believe this battle showed you why I am not afraid playing on city map with tier 10 light tank versus tier 10s only. And you have to keep in mind, this tank is going to see tier 8s and tier 9s as well, if it is going to be in the game. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was my first episode about upcoming tier 10 Soviet light tank, hopefully upcoming tier 10 Soviet light tank T-100 LT. It is a beast. On SandBox test server, this tank is a beast. I am pretty sure that they are going to do something to this tank before it is going to be in the game, if it is going to be in the game in the first place. For example, hull armor. I believe they are going to take that 120mm frontal hull armor and they are going to lower it to 100 or 90. Because 120 at the moment versus tier 10 medium tanks, it is actually working and really tough. And if you are going to see tier 8s, tier 9s with this tank, it can be quite problematic. Now gun, I believe it is balanced, 230 penetration, it is not the best, it is far from being the best penetration, and you are going to struggle versus a lot of tier 10s, so you have to get behind them or on the side shots, so I believe this is quite balanced. Mobility is crazy, but I don't know, I like it. It is super annoying tank to play against, so We just have to wait and see, but I don't think that Sheridan light tanks are going to break the game or are going to replace medium tanks, because medium tanks, they are still better snipers, better gun stats overall, better armor, more HP, and so on. Medium tanks are still going to be top class. And if wargaming is going to change the light tank metagame as a whole, like as I mentioned at the start of the episode, they are going to change light tanks to +2 matchmaking. And if this +2 matchmaking comes into the game, they are going to balance all the existing light tanks accordingly. So don't get mad if your Bulldog or ELC are going to be nerfed a little bit. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it was informative. I catch you next time. Take care and bye.